President Donald J. Trump just delivered a shock and awe Supreme Court victory. Roving ICE patrols are back in LA. Meanwhile, Social Security payments are about to be totally upended in less than 30 days. You're going to feel like you've been punched in the gut. And maybe this is the wake-up call that America needed. Who knows? And before anybody tries to spin this is not a rerun. This is happening right now, and it's real. Now, here are the 5 trending headlines that are really kind of fueling all of this turbulence that we're experiencing today. So the U.S. Supreme Court backs President Trump on aggressive immigration raids. The SCOTUS just cleared the way for sweeping ICE operations in Southern California. U.S. Supreme Court effectively legalized racial profiling. Immigration experts warn civil rights groups are raising the alarm. This ruling opens the door to racial targeting. ICE launches Chicago operation hours after go-ahead from SCOTUS for LA raids. The crackdown spreads fast. Chicago is next. But this is only half the story. In fact, Social Security checks are going away. That's right, folks. Social Security checks are going away. What you need to know: on September 30th, 2025, paper checks end and hundreds of thousands must adapt or risk missing their benefits. First September payment coming this week, many beneficiaries seeing reduced payments. Now, even before the change, people are starting to feel the squeeze with holdbacks due to overpayment recoveries. Now, every one of these headlines is screaming a crisis: law enforcement, civil rights, and aging Americans. Finally, there's, of course, there's financial insecurity, or really, I should say financial uncertainty, which I feel like there's always this air of financial uncertainty in the air, whether it's the stock market or whatever the case is, but it's all colliding in less than 30 days. So here's what you're about to see: how President Trump's court win re-energized border enforcement, but also ignited protests, legal battles, and civil liberty fears. Why Social Security's October overhaul isn't just bureaucratic. Now, for many people, it is a ticking time bomb that could disrupt every single Social Security paycheck. And of course, how both of these storylines, the law and order and the wallet watch, are feeding one another, building this tension and really driving America to a breaking point. But stick with me, guys, because in the next couple of minutes, I'm actually going to help you to understand why this is not just about some immediate change, but how this is going to hit you in the long term and what you can do individually about it so that you do not get impacted. Now, hold on tight, guys, because it's about to get ugly real fast. Hit the like button, subscribe. I really appreciate you guys. You might even want to get a pen and paper. All right, so September 9th, 2025, write it down. Remember this date, because under President Donald J. Trump, 2 earthquakes just collided. On the one side, you've got a Supreme Court ruling that gave Trump and ICE the green light to sweep the streets of Los Angeles. Now, on the one side, it's a ticking time bomb in your own wallet. Social Security payments are about to change in less than 30 days. But the question today is America experiencing a comeback victory, or is this a financial storm that could hit every single household? So I want to go ahead and jump into this. So this morning, the Supreme Court sided with President Trump, overturning lower courts and restoring ICE's roving patrols in Southern California. Now, here's what this means. Starting today, teams of ICE agents, 6, 8, sometimes 12 at a time, are free to hunt fugitives who already had their day in court and were ordered removed. Now, that's right, guys. These aren't random people who are walking down the street. These are fugitives who ignored a judge's order, vanished into the shadows, and kept breaking our laws. So the majority on the court barely spoke. It didn't need to. I mean, the ruling spoke loud enough. Justice Kavanaugh pointed to the 15 million illegal migrants in this country, millions overstaying visas, many staying for years. That's the reality that Trump's team is targeting. And then the dissenters, Sotomayor, Kagan, and of course, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, crying about feelings instead of law. Now, Jackson wrote, "I don't think we should live in a country where the government can seize anyone who looks Latino." You notice that? Feelings, not law. No mention of fugitives, no mention of court orders, just a smokescreen. Now, of course, the media is going to tell you this is racial profiling. Lie. What Trump just won back is the ability to enforce the law, go after fugitives, protect communities, and stop pretending illegals with deportation orders have some kind of a magic shield. Now, make no mistake, if Trump lost this ruling, the border crisis would have exploded like wildfire. Instead, he delivered, and California, whether Gavin Newsom likes it or not, or whether LA Mayor Karen Bass likes it or not, it's now ground zero for Trump's comeback law and order agenda. But of course, if you think that this is the only earthquake that's shaking America right now, think again. Because while Trump is crushing victories in the courts, another storm is brewing that hits way closer to home, your Social Security check. And in less than 30 days, the rules change. Times have changed, and it used to be normal to just kind of stick with the same Medicare plan year after year, but now that's not the standard anymore. Today, the new standard is reviewing your plan with chapter, because people are realizing that every year things change. And the only way to keep up is to review. So this is why I partnered with them, because when the new standard becomes clear, you don't want to be the only one left behind, bottom line. So let me ask you this. Are you sticking with the old way, or are you going to join the new standard like most people already are? Now, most people, they're dialing the phone number on the bottom of your screen right there, or they're visiting askchapter.org/Ron. Their phone number is 909-563-8279. And right on cue, CNN, MSNBC, the whole corporate circus are already in meltdown mode. CNN barely gave Trump's court win 5 minutes on coverage, right? And when they did, it was pure spin. They're basically screaming racist dragnet as if ICE agents are walking through car washes and supermarkets, grabbing people at random. Nonsense. These are fugitives with final removal orders, court-ordered removal. But corporate media, they can't admit Trump's win is a win. So they went ahead and smeared it in instead. And of course, Justice Ketanji Jackson, well, once again, proving every dissent that she writes is built on emotion, not on constitutional law. In fact, she says, I don't think we should live in a country where the government can seize anyone who looks Latino. That is not a legal argument. That is a talking point ripped straight out of the DNC's playbook. Now, let's be clear. Trump is protecting Americans. The Democrats and their media puppets are protecting fugitives. That's the contrast, folks. And the establishment knows it. This is why they're panicking, because when Trump racks up wins like this, their entire narrative collapses. They lose control. But let me hit you with the twist here, okay? Because while Trump is stacking victory after victory in the courts, another crisis is brewing. This is one that, it's not about the fugitives in California. It's actually about you and your money. So in less than 30 days, Social Security is about to undergo this massive shakeup. And if you or your grandparents, maybe even your parents, depend on that check, you need to listen closely. In fact, the rules are changing and the clock is ticking. You may even want to go ahead and share this video with someone who is receiving Social Security so that they do not get caught off guard. Now, this is not some abstract policy update. This is not some abstract policy debate. It's deadlines, it's disruptions, it's decisions millions of Americans just cannot ignore. October 1st isn't just another date on the calendar. This is the moment when the ground shifts under your wallet. So while Trump is restoring law and order on the streets of Los Angeles, Social Security is staring down one of the biggest shakeups in history. And so the question is, are you ready? Or are you about to get blindsided? Well, here's what most people do not realize. While everybody was distracted by the headlines, the Social Security Administration has been quietly gutted and rebuilt under Trump's leadership. Frank Bignano is now the commissioner. You've got Chad Poe, the new chief of staff and risk officer. They're in charge of rooting out fraud. Then, of course, there's Karen Glenn, the actuary, crunching the numbers on trust funds and COLAs. Nicholas Pine, the comms officer, charged with finally telling Americans the truth instead of burying it in red tape. And let me tell you guys, this isn't just DC shuffleboard. You're already seeing the effects. Phone wait times slashed down to minutes instead of half an hour. Field offices delays are now down to about 30%. The online portal, which used to shut down almost every week for maintenance, it's now up 24/7. Finally, some competence. Finally, service that actually feels like it belongs in the 21st century. But here's the kicker, guys. All of this progress is being tested in the next 30 days. So will this new leadership be strong enough to handle what's about to slam into America's retirees? Because October 1st, it's not about smoother service, it's about survival. So circle the date. September 30th, 2025. Write that date down, guys. That's the final day Social Security paper checks exist. Okay? After that, they're done, gone. So if you're already on direct deposit or the direct express card, good news for you is you're fine. But if you're one of the 500,000 Americans, less than 1%, but still hundreds of thousands of Americans who depend on that paper check in the mailbox each month, your world is about to change. The government says it's about cost and security. Paper checks cost about 50 cents each, direct deposits 15 cents each. Now, if you multiply that by millions and millions and millions of transactions, yeah, that actually saves a couple $1,000,000 per year. Paper checks, they're also about 16 times more likely to get lost or even stolen. So it sounds efficient on paper, but here's the reality. Imagine being 92 years old. You're living in a rural community. There's no internet access. There's no smartphone. There's no bank within 40 miles. Your entire routine is walk to the mailbox, pick up your check, and cash it. And suddenly you're told, sorry, too bad, figure it out. Yeah, there are waivers for the very elderly, for those with severe impairments, but how many people will fall through the cracks? Like, how many seniors won't even get the notice in time? So this is why I decided to put this video together. Hopefully it reaches the folks who actually need to hear this information. But this is where efficiency really becomes cruelty. And unfortunately, it's happening in less than 30 days. So we got Trump crushing victories in California courts, but at the same time, retirees facing one of the harshest Social Security deadlines in modern history. Two storms are colliding here, guys. One is hitting the streets and the other one is hitting your wallet. And it doesn't stop there, because the deeper money problems are actually even worse than that. So I want to zoom out just for a second, because October 1st is not just about paper checks. It's about the very survival of Social Security itself. So the 2025 Trustees Report says it very plain. By 2034, the combined trust funds, they're going to run short. And when that happens, the law is clear. Benefits get slashed automatically by 20 to 23%. This is not going to get debated, not voted on. It's just automatic. So what's Congress doing about it? Well, besides bickering as always, but one idea that's floating around is a $1.5 trillion investment fund seeded with $300 billion per year for 5 years. The plan? Pour that cash into long-term investments, build returns, and buy time. Now, it sounds clever, right? But here's the risk. Will lawmakers save your retirement, or will they gamble it in Wall Street schemes that could blow up in all of our faces? You guys remember 2008, the financial crisis? You remember how fast trillions of dollars vanished? Imagine your Social Security check tied to that roller coaster. I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound like stability. That sounds like Russian roulette with the future of America's seniors. And of course, you've got the Nancy Pelosi's of the world keeping an eye on all of that money hitting the stock market. Do you really trust lawmakers putting your Social Security funds into the stock market for your investment? I'm gonna let y'all decide on that in the comments down below. Let me know what you think about that. Should they do it? Should they not? Drop a 1 if you think they should. Drop a 2 if you're saying no, they should not invest our Social Security funds in the stock market. So while DC argues about big trillion-dollar funds, here's the insult you feel every single month. It's the COLA. Now, for 2025, the adjustment is 2.5%. For 2026, they're projecting 2.6, maybe 2.7, and Washington pats itself on the back like they just saved you. But go ask anybody who's buying groceries, anyone who's filling prescriptions, anybody who's paying for gas. Prices are sprinting ahead while COLA is on a crawl. That 2.5% boost is getting swallowed up the second you step into the store. No one's going to see that. That's not really helpful. This is why some lawmakers are floating a proposal for a minimum guaranteed 3% COLA every single year, not tied to manipulated inflation numbers, tied to DC's accounting games, a floor, okay? Because right now, the government says inflation is low, but your wallet probably says otherwise, right? And so the gap between their math and your reality is the silent ripoff that's draining seniors dry. So here's where we are, guys. Trump winning battles in the court, ICE unleashed in California, while Social Security inches toward a cliff, COLAs that don't keep up, and of course, a trust fund on life support. And it's all going to come together in the next 30 days. So if you step back and you look at the battlefield, on the one side, you got President Trump just scoring a historic Supreme Court win. ICE is back on the streets of California, hunting fugitives, restoring law and order. That is clearly a victory the establishment never wanted you to see. But of course, on the other side, Social Security is on the edge. October 1st is the hard deadline. Paper checks vanish, COLAs that don't cover the cost of living, a trust fund that's running out of air by 2034, not a good look. And millions of Americans are wondering if the system that they paid into their entire lives is about to collapse right under them. So it's really really two major crises that are colliding at once, and one is showing America's strength, the other one is exposing its fragility. Now, President Trump delivers victories, but Washington's decades of neglect are really, they're still bleeding into your pocketbook. So that's the crossroads that we're standing at today. So I got to ask you, where do you stand, folks? Do you back President Trump's crackdown in California, restoring order and giving ICE the power to take fugitives off the streets? Or do you side with the media elites who would rather protect criminals than protect Americans? And are you ready, like really ready for the Social Security changes that are crashing down in less than 30 days? Like, have you set up direct deposit? Have you prepared your family? Or are you just going to get blindsided when the rules shift on October 1st? I'm warning you guys, the next 30 days, they're going to shape America's security and your security. So this is not just politics. This is personal. Hit the like button, smash subscribe, share this video with everyone you know, because the mainstream media will not tell you the truth. They're too busy protecting the narrative. But here, we're going to expose it. So Trump just delivered pretty big in California, but the fight for your Social Security and your future is only just the beginning. Stay tuned, stay loud. I'll see you guys on the next one.